Hello there everyone, today's video is a recent court case that caught my eye all about entrepreneurs relief, or as it's now been renamed, business asset disposal relief, but it's what we all know as entrepreneurs relief, this well-known reduction, tax break in capital gains tax, reduction in the tax, and if you qualify for entrepreneurs relief, you get 10% of capital gains tax as opposed to the regular rate of 20%. Now, last year, that 10% rate, the amount that it applies to was brought right down. You used to be able to get it on the first 10 million of any gains. Then the Chancellor brought it down, says, we'll give you £1 million worth of gains in your lifetime, not just on any deal in your lifetime, and you pay 10% on that. If you have gains in excess of 1 million over a lifetime, then the capital gains tax regime is the entrepreneurs relief rate is not allowed, and you go back to the default position of 20%, so double the tax bill. But anyway, on this particular court case, this is going back a few years when the old rates applied, if you will, so you got 10% on the first 10 million. So basically it was a partnership. Now, a partnership that owned power stations. Seems quite unusual to me. Normally, you'd have thought that to be a limited company. But anyway, it was a partnership that owned some power stations. And what they actually did was they sold 2 of these power stations before they even started generating any power. So in other words, before the trade actually started, they sold a couple of power stations. And the partners of this partnership tried to claim entrepreneurs relief on the disposal of these power plants, saying that they were business assets. The business assets, so entrepreneurs relief should apply. Went to the courts, and the tax tribunal said, "Oh, hang on a minute. Pre-trading these assets, they don't qualify as business assets because you haven't started a trade yet." Now, elsewhere in the tax world, you do get relief for expenses that you have incurred before you start to trade, particularly on, I'm thinking about income tax side of things, capital gains tax, sorry, not capital gains tax, that's the current one, income tax, corporation tax. Also in the VAT world, there is, often input VAT that you can get back before you start to trade. So other areas of the tax code afford this relief against certain taxes for pre-trading expenditure. However, this particular court case tested that rule with regards to capital gains tax, and the outcome was that the taxpayer was defeated. The judge said, look, the ordinary meaning of business required that a trade must have existed at the date of disposal. So the fact that this partnership sold these business assets, or business in their eyes, the power plants, you can imagine there would have been quite a significant disposal proceeds, I would imagine. And taxpayer argued that this was part of the entrepreneurs relief legislation, said that you could claim this pre-trading these assets disposals. But then when the tribunal looked at the legislation, absolutely tore it apart, delved into it in the minutiae, and said, actually, the entrepreneurs relief rules do not say that. You cannot get your entrepreneurs relief for disposing of assets before you start to trade. So, interesting case there. I would suspect it probably hasn't even been tested before. I don't recall reading a similar case. Very rare that you're going to start selling assets of a business before you've even really started trading. But that was the case in this instance. And like I said, unlike with other taxes, income tax, where you do get pre-trading expenses relieved, you can claim for it on your first tax return, your first corporation tax, or indeed your first VAT return. You get input VAT back on expenses you incurred before you start to trade, in preparation of the business commencing to trade, but not in this case for capital gains tax. So entrepreneurs relief denied. for the partnership disposing of what they classed as business assets, but the court said ultimately they weren't because they had yet started to trade. So, if you like this video, please do subscribe right there, and I will see you soon.